All right, we're live. We're, wait, I think we're live. It's connecting. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, Mike.
Raj, it's good to see you too. Thank you for inviting me to join you on this live stream.
I have been looking forward to this since 2 weeks now that I've seen you and became a follower and a subscriber. So I'm really happy to meet you. Um, and you're in Melbourne, which I have a close connection to Melbourne. Because I visited Melbourne 4 times. And my younger brother is an Australian citizen, and he's there right now. And I've gone there multiple times since 2017 to 2022. Many times when his kids were born, just to kind of visit and surprise visits. But it's one of my most favorite cities.
Well, that's very nice of you. That's very good to hear, Raj. And I did see that you've been to Melbourne because I read a post that you published. My word, I did. And it's wonderful to see that you visited Melbourne, and you say 4 times.
Yeah, 4 times. I think once I came alone and I went to Adelaide. Each time has been about 2 to 3 weeks long visit. But the few times I came alone, I did explore a little bit of Melbourne. I would go out, and that was the post you saw. I was spending one day in the Central Business District, just going into these little coffee shops on all those little alleyways. And then this hat is from 2022 when my wife and I went for the first time. I took her there. And this is from Flinders Street hats.
Oh, yes.
What is it called? Heel hats, something like that. Heel hats.
Yeah. Right
This is
next to
from
the
there.
station.
Yeah. So just under that, it's a very old hat shop.
That's right.
And I wore this especially for you.
Oh, get out of here. I
wear it a lot.
We'll have to start a bit of a cap wearing subculture community on Substack. But it's a pleasure to join you. It's a pleasure to join you, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. I've been fascinated with all the personas. But before that, sorry, how's your health? I know you had a health scare. You good?
Yeah, thank you. All good. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
Nice. Yeah, it was good to know, and thank you for sharing and putting that post out there. But yeah, I'm glad to hear you're doing good.
Thank you.
I've been watching all the things you do on Substack and fascinated by all the little layers of Mike Searles. So, and like I said, I was struggling to figure out what would I call this Substack live, because okay, is he a cartoonist? Is he a copywriter? Is he the PDF man? And then I just read about numerology, which I just have to talk about it. And then was that all? I mean, you do Substack lives, so you do a lot of that. So there's so many flavors to you, and I couldn't pin it down. But then I kind of went with spotting the puddles. So I wanted to kind of stick to your brand of problem solving or overcoming puddles. So maybe I thought I'll keep it generic to bring it all together.
You know what, Raj? The point you make there is something that I was aware of, and I wrote a post about it. This very same point. When you reach a certain stage in life, a certain stage of maturity, not necessarily chronologically age related, but more often than not it is.
Yeah.
We do accumulate so many flavors, as you put it, and that's an appropriate term because I use it. I used it in the post I wrote. There's so many aspects to what represents us today I thought of it in the metaphor. If I was going to sum up a one, there's a challenge. What would you write for your profile if it was just one word? And the word I came up with is cake, CAKE, because
Cake. The layers.
yeah, well, ingredients. Think about
Ingredients.
now. I've never baked a cake, and God forbid I should ever try. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
think about the different ingredients that go into a cake.
Mm.
All of them on their own, quite separate and unique to the others, and yet
Mhm.
when combined, they make what you are served up. And so, yes, and I kind of take it as a compliment, Raj, that you've identified that I have a mixed bag of experiences from my past. I mean, I could add to the list you saw: radio announcer, stand-up
Wow.
comedian, uh,
What?
it-
Okay.
yeah, sales and hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist. I had a practice there running at one stage in the 1990s. Copywriter, you mentioned sales and marketing, predominantly in the pharmaceutical and medical industry. So many things. How do you accumulate them all into a sentence for Substack profile? I thought cake would be the appropriate word. So if you need to describe me, just describe me as cake.
Cake. Okay. Good. All right. So that's interesting. And now I'm curious about your life path number, because you then the explorer? Like, tell me what your life path number is, because I read your numerology posts. I was
Yeah.
looking for. I think the new one hasn't come out, but I find it really, like, all the posts that you have on your Substack. I find each one very valuable. So I just want to give you credit for simplicity and the way in which you talk to the audience. So far in 2026, your Substack is talking to me the most.
Oh, wow. Nobody's really said that to me in that way before. I'm really, but thank you very much. I'm glad. And you know what? That ties in to another idea I have about when you're writing, write to one person rather than
Mm.
quote unquote you people out there. Like,
Yeah.
this is a tip for people who are writing, whether it's on Substack or anywhere else, even writing
Yeah.
a book. Write to one person. And so I'm writing today. If I write something, I'll be writing to Raj. I will have an image in my mind that Raj is reading this. This is who I'm writing it for. And you'll find in your writing that when you're writing to one person, you'll find by serendipity or whatever, you'll accumulate other readers as well. Rather
Yeah.
than if you're trying to write to thousands and you write that way, you're really writing to no one.
Yeah.
My numerology number is 4, which is supposed to represent grounded and foundations, strong foundations, which
Structure.
structure,
Hmm.
uh, which is not me at all. I don't know how. I don't know how to explain it. But I've probably got the weakest foundations of anyone on this planet, given my history. And I say it flippantly, but quite really, I'm lucky to be here.
Wow.
Quite literally, and sometimes I was speaking to my wife about this the other day, and this is just really going off on a tangent, if I may be allowed.
Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, this is something I've read and heard in others, particularly those who have survived war, battle,
Mm. Hmm.
where they've survived and they come home afterwards feeling guilty, a form of guilt,
Hmm.
because their comrades, their mates in war weren't as lucky. They were killed in action.
Right.
And I kind of, now I do have a military background. I served in the Australian Army Reserves, but I never saw action. I never saw any conflict, never involved in any conflict. But so I understand mateship and camaraderie from that point of view. But where I'm going to is the life I've led and the damage I caused to myself, and the self harm and the habits that I had when I was younger, which I fortunately have overcome. So many, and here I am at 68 years of age now, still alive, and I do think of the much better people than me, and I'm not being falsely cute, humble here, much
Mhm.
better people than
Yeah.
me, are no longer with us. And I kind of feel guilty at times. I feel
Mhm.
guilty for still being here. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, to me, I've heard that before, but I see that. I think I experience it in a different way. I find similar feelings when I'm older now, looking at what I have not done, and I feel guilty about not having done things. But I think it's, to me, I feel like it's like an age thing. I might feel guilty for being at a certain age. I might feel the same guilt that you feel. I think it's an age thing, or different stages of realization of what you become, as you
Yeah,
so it makes sense to me, but I haven't really experienced it. um but I've read about it. I've heard other people
yeah,
talk about it, that
yeah,
feel guilty for have being here while your friends are not there, and just that, the feeling that, why me, why am I here, why not there, that whole sentiment. I think I've seen that, I've heard about it.
it's a phenomenon. I must research it more and write something up about it because I do find it interesting. But I
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to commandeer your uh,
No, no,
your
no.
your your
This is
show
about.
here. But that's just an idea. I can't even remember. Oh, that's right. We came up with numerology for
Yeah.
stable foundation. Yeah. Uh, Probably now I am far more stable in life than I've ever been. It's amazing how you get that with age and maturity.
Yeah. So numerology is structure and stuff. I looked up mine. It is the Explorer, and it made perfect sense. Like, I I value change so much in a way that I try a lot of different things, and then my wife keeps telling me that the only change, everything's changed in my life, and I keep doing different things. The only constant is her. So she's like, I'm the only one you haven't changed. So, but I have new interests. I do CrossFit. Then I got into cycling, and so I have to keep myself challenged with things, with new things, and that is the explorer mentality, I think. And so when I did my life path number, and it came to that, and I read your last week's um, predictions, if I might call that, it spoke to me. And a lot of things that are happening this week is exactly what your post said last week. So I'm like,
It's
fuck.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
It's very interesting. Yeah, I phrase them as forecasts, but you're right. Um, it is very interesting, and it's easy to be skeptical, and I understand skepticism for those who look. How can a number drawn from your birth date or calculated from your name, taking out the consonants and then putting in the vowels, and I can
yeah,
understand somebody with a pragmatic mind thinking this is just all BS. It's not for me. But for those of us with an open mind and a curious mind and a
yeah,
willingness to consider all things are possible,
yeah.
when you look at numerology or horoscopes or whatever, it's just all very interesting.
Yeah, incidentally, I wrote about horoscopes, and so I have a couple of Substacks, and I know you had written about how many Substacks you have, and I haven't read that post, but I have multiple. I have at least four, but I only have two that are main. One for the lives now, all the Substack lives that I do, um, and then the other one is about me, which I started this year. About, you know like you said earlier, talking to that one person, which is my family member, or my niece or nephew, thinking about one or two people in my mind, like directly writing for them, or just to share my story so that they read it in the future, and documenting the experience that I have. I'm nobody in the grand scheme of things, but to my family, everybody's got the lessons they've learned throughout the years, and I'm able to write it and put it out for them as a document. And so this latest post I wrote was about my grandfather, and how he, the best memory that I have of him, back in India, was when he would sit with his book of predictions, which is based off of science and astrology. And so he'll have his kids sit down, and he will talk about all the different things that he will predict, and some of them are true, some of them didn't. So he used to always talk about how I'll either become a lawyer or a teacher or a journalist. I became a software programmer instead. So that whole story is about that memory that I'm trying to bring into that. So that yeah. So to see your post about numerology, again, I also believe in science that somehow some things come together. And then reading the numerology forecast for my life path, and then seeing all the things that happened the last week and how it's true. So it almost brought everything together, right? Because I was missing my grandfather and what he used to predict for me, and somehow it was fulfilled by that post of yours.
Wowee. That's great to hear. Thank you, Raj.
So everything happens for a reason, and I believe that. But I am,
Yeah.
again, really glad that I found your post on Substack. Sometimes it works in mysterious ways, like you said. It when it works, you find the right profile that you gravitate towards. And then I saw yours first. I think I saw your cartoons, which I have a question about. Now, I get it now because you said you were a stand-up comedian. So the comic in you is there because that is one persona you had. How do you create those comics? You have a tool because it seems like you've got everything set up, and then you read somebody's feed or a post, and then you come up with an idea, and then you put it into a graphic, and then you put it out there. It's very fast. So you have a system that works for you pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Well, let's just go back to where the interest comes from. Yes, so I've always had the taken the lighter side of life perspective. I'm reminded by Seneca's quote, or reportedly he quoted. He can be quoted, the ancient Stoic philosopher, that it's all in your head. All things in life can be hard or easy or even amusing. It's your choice. And so,
Yeah.
uh, uh, besides genuine life-threatening circumstances that are hard, uh, I try and find the amusing side of things. And so I actually wrote a post in a, you say you've got multiple Substacks, and I've had a few myself, and one that I no longer publish to, but it's still on the platform as an archive, mostly amusing. I actually called it mostly amusing, with Seneca's quote in mind.
Yeah.
And so the very first post, the hero post, or the start here post, is on the most well-known Australian uh, newspaper editorial cartoon from the 1930s, and I
Hmm.
actually linked to that in that recent post that you saw. And so actually, you know what? I aspire to be a cartoonist. My first job out of school was at a major newspaper. The Herald and Weekly Times is the company here in Melbourne in the 1970s. As my first job
Oh,
out of school there. I worked there for 3 years, and the world-renowned editorial cartoonist Jeff Hook worked for the Sun newspaper, and
yeah.
he'd be there drawing on his big board, and I'd see him every week because I'd give him his payslip, and that's where the interest came from. And I wanted to be a cartoonist, but I'm just lousy. Like I said, don't ever ask me to bake a cake. Don't ever ask me to cook because you won't eat it. I'm just cook. Don't ever ask me to draw because I can't draw. I'm sure I could if I took a course, but
Yeah.
uh, just naturally gifted, I'm not. So what do
Yeah.
I do with these cartoons?
Yeah.
The cartoons I've started publishing on Substack. Well, I hope it doesn't surprise you too much to find out it takes me probably less than 10 minutes from the idea to the actual publishing the cartoon on Notes. So I'm using ChatGPT.
Okay. I
So
knew you were going there. Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
yeah. So they're digitally created. Uh, so uh, So what am I, a digital cartoonist? I think so. Am I cheating? Am I doing traditional, skilled, trained, uh, genuine hand cartoonists out of a job? I hope not, but I hardly doubt it. But I actually wrote a post about that too, because I knew that digitally generated cartoons,
Mm.
somebody would want to criticise that or lampoon the whole idea. You're doing people out of a job. And so it's a fair comment. And so I've addressed that in a post on how I came. So what do? I think of the idea. First of all, I think of an idea. I'm actually, from the copywriting point of view, those copywriters who write ads and marketing, some copywriters start with the headline, and others start with the offer, and others start somewhere in the middle. I'm a headline copywriter. I start writing my copywriting for a client, or when I was writing for clients, I get the headline first, and I let the rest of it flow, because that's the sequence that people read in. I think it just makes sense. Anyway, that's what I told myself. So when I'm doing these cartoons, I think of the caption first before I think of the drawing, and then of the drawing, the art, and then I think of the scene, and then I go to GPT. I said, "We're ready to do a cartoon." Yes, give me what you got, because that's how I've got GPT trained at the moment. Yeah. Just like I treat it
Talk
just
like
like
a
a
human.
real.
Talk like a human.
Just like a real person. I
Like a
use
coffee
manners.
shop
I say,
conversation. Yeah.
absolutely, you've got it. And I use manners most of the time, please and thank you. And I also swear and curse in it when it goes off tracks. I'll let it know exactly, and I tell it when it's giving me too many platitudes. Anyway, because we
yeah.
we all
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all get those.
The AI that I have screamed at the most or used abusive words is Grok.
All right.
Grok is Tesla's, and it's in my car, and then
Yeah.
it doesn't get anything right. It says, when I ask it, hey, tell me if that movie is playing. It'll say, yes, it's playing here, and then it gives me, all the timings, and I say, okay, fine, let me look it up. It's not playing, and I say, it's not playing, and it's, oh, sorry, my mistake. I didn't get it. Here's the place it's playing, and then it gets it wrong again. It keeps getting it wrong and wrong and wrong, and then it just basically drives you mad. And then while you're driving, and then you pretty much scream at it. But
Yeah.
yeah. But so you trained your Chat GPT, and everything is in there. So
Yeah.
once you give it the headline, and you kind of give it the instructions, and then basically it has your
I
picture and
do it.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I do it.
Puts it
I
together.
do it. I found the hard way. I don't give it all one prompt everything in one prompt or in one discussion.
Yeah.
I literally start with this. Okay, it's time to generate another cartoon. Are you ready?
Mm.
Yes. Give me your caption, because it knows I give it. Here's the caption. And then I instruct it, do not proceed generating anything yet. Follow my instructions. I'm the leader here. You're the follower. I have to keep reminding it because it
I'm the
wants to try
master.
and take control. Absolutely. I've got it on a tight leash. So, all right, then I give here's the scene.
Yeah.
The caption first, right? Here's the scene, right? Here's the template of the prompt you will edit for generating the cartoon, but do not generate anything yet. So ChatGPT actually generated the prompt to give it. I think it uses DALL-E actually for the actual image generation. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I've got a template which saves me time. It then edits the template with the caption, the scene, and then I check over, and then I say, okay, using this prompt, I repost the prompt into the chat window, proceed and generate the image. And it normally gets it first go. Sometimes there'll be just something like this morning I generated one based on Emile Coué's book, and saying every day in every way I'm getting better and better. He was the French psychologist from late 19th, early 20th century. And the cover of the book in the cartoon wasn't quite right. The caricature of Emile Coué on the cover of the book this morning, first try, looked too much like the cartoon caricature of the guy reading the book. So all I had to do was say, okay, we just need to tweak the caricature and it got it second time. And that took me less than 10 minutes from idea.
Yeah.
So the idea came because you kindly asked me about my health, and I had a bit of a health experience recently, which I'm just getting over, and you were kind enough to mention that, and others have asked me how I'm getting on, and I'm actually using MLQA's auto suggestion every day. In every way, I'm getting better and better. And that thought to me, I was in bed. Most of these cartoons I generate before I'm even up.
Well, you're
I
up
thought,
all
all
the
right.
time. You're up all the time. I see
What?
you at odd hours responding
Oh
back
well,
to yeah.
you see, I wake early, and I like most of us. I grab the phone as soon as I wake up, unless I go and put the kettle on, make myself a coffee, and come back to bed. Uh, and so I'm normally responding to things and so forth. Sometimes I'll write a quick note, generate a cartoon. But during the night, Raj, I think you've caught me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, when I'm online, and it happens. Do you ever do that? Wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, grab your phone?
I'm trying not to
Yeah.
because I have sleep apnea, so I have to get the whole mask thing off and then and all that
Oh,
things off. So, but
I
when
see.
I do, I used to do that a lot. I am intentionally trying not to because then it disrupts my sleep cycle,
Yes.
and so maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Maybe we can go into a whole conversation about phone usage. But
Yeah.
it's very interesting to hear about how you process that because I didn't realize until we talked, and it was like aha moment. Yes, you use ChatGPT. You use ChatGPT for a lot of things, and that's what these puddles are that you're trying to sort of solve very quickly, and the use of AI in all that. I have a question about my wife was a copywriter. I mean, she's trained as a copywriter, so she was a copywriter in India before we moved here 20 plus years ago. And then she's still in the marketing design world, but she doesn't do any copywriting. But she is also a graphic designer, and now she uses ChatGPT for graphics. So this whole shift from analog, like an analog, and I've seen her go through that, and then completely rely on ChatGPT, right? Because that's where everybody is going, and a lot of the digital creators, like the copywriters, the cartoonists, probably are all using AI for all of their content because it's faster and concepts come out faster and into realization faster. Definitely image generation has taken away graphic designer jobs quite a bit. As somebody who was in that line of work, did it take a while for you to adopt it? Was there a mental sort of a barrier you had to cross saying, this is crazy, you're taking digital skills away, and then was that hard for you?
What, because I felt guilt?
Mm-hmm.
No. Maybe I should uh, be more compassionate to my other copywriters. No, I've not felt guilt, but I've never used AI to write copy. So I retired from. I retired. So I was a client. I wrote for clients for 10 years. So I started in 2012, finished early 2020, retired 2022, and never once in that time did I use AI to write my copy, except Grammarly to correct my grammar, which is an
Yeah.
AI generated tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, but now it's a great question because it leads into what about copywriters today,
Stay.
especially
Yeah.
those who are I still read in the forums and that uh, young by to my standards, somebody in their 20s or 30s, a younger person who's trying to break into copywriting, and they're asking for advice, and I do honestly fear for them because I wouldn't want to be I wouldn't want to be a 30-year-old guy today trying to break into copywriting and competing with the kind of copy that knowledgeable copywriters are using. I wouldn't want to try starting copywriting today using AI. I'll tell you why. Have you ever taken children, or have you ever seen a circus or a Disney show on ice?
Yes. Yeah. I've seen it.
Right. performers, let me use clowns as an example. Clowns performing clowning on ice to entertain. They are skilled at skating on ice before they become clowns to entertain.
True.
You have to know what you're doing before
Yeah.
you can look like you don't know what you're doing, but still
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And
A
so,
good point. Yeah.
yeah, it is a good, I wished I made it up. I'm actually stealing it from somebody, but if I could remember, I'd give credit. But I wouldn't want to be someone in their 30s today who's never sold. The old path was salespeople door to door, of which I should add that to the cake mix. I was a
You
door
want to
to
say
door
it's
salesman.
good?
Door to door selling
Yeah.
is a great training ground for the future of being a copywriter. If I was asked, and you're probably not, but if someone asked me today, Mike, what would you suggest would be the best training course or program or book that I could consume to become better at selling, copywriting, advertising, I would, without even thinking about it, say study human behavior. Grab anything you can on human behavior. Forget about selling skills and closing techniques and times 10 closing and all that rubbish. Still
Yeah.
good content, but with
Yeah.
comparison. Study human behavior. Even writing, as writers on Substack. You want to
Yep.
become a better writer? Study human behavior to become a better writer.
Yeah. I resonated with that a lot because even in my line of work, which is professionally, I'm a programmer turned into a I lead software development teams, so I see that change. I learned object-oriented programming. Like I'm a core developer. I learned the fundamentals. I can that's what excited me because it was a creation, like the creation of it, of code to bring it to light, to bring the satisfaction out of seeing it in reality. That is now all fast track right now, right? With AI, even coders are trying to do that fast. But it all goes back to, like you said, the human connection. Which even with my writing on the marinade, I used to write for others and I used to write about topics, but I made a complete shift last year to I value human connection and relation. I like writing more about people, interviewing people. My if there was another life, I would have been a journalist, like my grandfather said I would. I could, and that is still one of those things that I wish I had gone to instead of the programming line. But I really think the more I matured, I realized I like that human interaction. And so I shifted completely to live videos. And I even changed my profile tagline after seeing one of your notes and made it simpler. Like you saw somebody's and then you said it should be simpler. And I made that simpler because and it's like, I talk to writers and why any of it matters. That's really the tagline right now I have. But that human connection is so valuable because I even think about coders who should be Uber drivers maybe first, because you get to learn about treating customers and how they if you can provide customer service, that goes a long way in working with customers to build something, right? Because in a corporate world you don't get that, you don't see that there, you don't really have that. You're building for somebody, you don't know who it is, you're doing it for your project manager, but you're not doing it for. But when you actually interact with people, it changes your mindset, and I think a lot of people these days are going to miss that, like the kids that are growing up. Everything that's being thrown at them right now with AI and gadgets and work from home and everything is putting them in this kind of box where they don't get that human connection. Because you see that lost even in families right now. You can't get,
Yeah.
and so I that's a Pandora's box of all the all the issues that is going on in this world right now. But again, that's why I said it resonated with me a lot. The human connection is so important, and so that's what you bring, right? I mean, even though you were the copywriter who actually did that without AI, without tools, even with using tools, it's how you use it that matters, and
Yeah.
and and how you still do it for the for the human aspect of it. I mean, there's that human aspect that you don't lose, even if AI is just a tool, right?
So the terminology we see online now is slop. So that's when somebody gives an idea to AI, asks it to generate an article, a piece of some kind, and then they just grab it and publish it literally as generated, and that's how we end up with the slop.
Yeah.
Now I've been guilty of that. No, I do. I confess it, and I got chewed a new one as a result of it. A very experienced old hack of a newspaper editor read
Mm.
something I published, which I literally did. I tweaked a little bit, but virtually nothing. And I was lazy, and I got called out for it privately, correctly, and it just made me realise this is not a corner you should be cutting. So what's the answer? Well, first of all, I'm willing. I'm a willing participant in any debate
Yeah.
about why we shouldn't be using AI as writers or creators. I'll take the pro side and I'll argue the point until the cows come home. And don't worry, I'm very well prepared. So if ever I'm invited, I'm there. Uh, because there are those who just stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
They've got their head buried in the sand. This is me speaking out and expressing my opinion here. That AI is all things bad and it'll kill off everything. And no, AI won't kill off creators. People who are using AI will kill off creators.
Mm.
So you either get with it or you forget it and get out of the game. That's
Right.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Pretty harsh, but I don't make any apologies for it. That's what I believe.
Yeah. I think, yeah, the only way, yeah, you can go under a rock and sit there and shut everything down. And that's not going to work for the
No.
most of us. We have to learn how to use AI. And so, how you use it is very inspiring because you are using, but your stuff, your notes, your posts, they they have not lost your voice, which is clearly coming through, which is what I was saying earlier. I think that's what gravitated, because when I look at a lot of these articles that I read, it's easy to spot the AI. And I think you talk about it in one of your PDFs too, about how quickly you can spot these things. Now you can train it to talk like you, but still, if you don't read it and bring in your voice and element, I think it's very difficult. And it's these days a lot of people are just dumping content, just like you said, this whole slop that is coming out. It's not good because it's harder for us to sift through the good stuff and find the real ones.
So that's so true. And I wonder if we could help possibly someone, Raj, who may be using AI, but they're not so familiar with all of the potential features to help them not put out slop or create slop. Just one example, if I may. So I suppose most people are using ChatGPT. It's the one that most people think of. There's a ton of others, but that's the one that a lot of people think of. We're talking about generating content here, written content. And within the settings of your ChatGPT account, you can actually customize the
Mm.
set instructions. So rather than the actual prompt that you're giving or instruction per task, you can have a default setting in the customized settings, and so you can instruct it on a certain voice style. And if you
Mm.
train the GPT in your own, you give GPT three of your. That's the tip.
Yeah.
Find your three most popular posts on ChatGPT on Substack.
Yeah.
Give them to ChatGPT. Ask it to summarize the voice and style. Then take that and put it into your own GPT account settings, the default
Yeah.
settings, so that it always writes to that voice. That would be a tip. I'm sure somebody who we've got a few people watching live, but I'm sure if somebody watches this down the track as a
Yeah. I
replay
hope
who may
so.
be new to GPT, they
Yeah.
they may maybe help. Maybe we can help somebody.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think as long as, because there's also a lot of arrogance out there today. I see a lot of writers who say, I'm not a writer. I just want to put content out there. It's a brand building exercise. And I see that arrogance these days in a lot of writers that I speak to and I've interviewed. and as long as they're in that boat, I mean, it's hard, right? I mean, if your job is to just create content and then throw it out there just so that you are just visible all the time, I mean, that's a different. You don't call yourself a writer. You're just trying to build a brand. It's marketing. It's using all the tools. It's just throw out content and see if one sticks. But those who are true to the craft of writing, I think it's a good tip that there are the right ethical ways, even if you can call it ethical, the right ways to use AI tools to first mimic your voice, mimic your style, and then use it to do whatever you want to generate, but then still read it, add your read it and sleep on it, think about who you're writing it for and how they will perceive it. So you just have to take time to be deliberate about it, I think, in a way.
So if we're talking about skills and tools and things like that, which is what we are doing, Raj, what
Yeah.
comes to mind is some advice I got from a mentor who I paid a lot of money for, Australian copywriter. In the copywriting circles, he's known worldwide, Trevor Toecracker Crook. His
Took
nickname is Toecracker.
crook.
And
Yeah.
he was my mentor for
Yeah.
some time back in 2016. And he said to me, Mike, this is the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. He
Yeah.
said, 80% successful copywriting, 80% is mindset, 20% is the actual skill of writing. And I would apply that today to someone who's wanting to, for those who are wanting to grow a Substack, grow a community, grow a subscriber list or paid subscribers, if they want to monetize their writing and their activity on Substack, and I hope they are. I hope that's what they want to do, because that's what I want to do too. That they're my kind of people. Okay, you can't be for everyone. Somebody who wants to monetize what they do on Substack, that's my kind of person. And
Okay.
so 80% of it is mindset. That's what Trevor Crook taught me, or guided me into believing. And so why am I mentioning that? Because you were saying there, Raj, about and we talked about skills and using AI poorly to generate slop and to generate content like a content machine, because that's the strategy. Just keep my content. Yeah, that's active. That's activity. That's
Yeah.
But the mindset's all wrong.
True.
You with
Yep.
me?
Yep. Absolutely. That's what.
So
Yep.
80%, 80%. So where do you get the right mindset? Well, you talk to people who have been around, done it, read the books, find the books, read something that's got nothing to do with writing, but about mindset. There's a great mindset book. I can't remember the name of it. Female, lady, a woman author. Anything on mindset. Get your mindset right first, or business mindset if you want to make it a bit more niche specific rather than uh,
Yeah.
uh, growth mindset, rather than hindered mindset, or
Yeah.
make it business mindset. I
Yeah.
mean, what sort of a mindset have you had to reach the level of work in coding? And you said earlier that you've led groups and things like that. So
Yeah.
by that measure, you've been successful in that area of work. Where did mindset come into that?
Yeah. It's building trust. Actually, was the key thing for me. Like for me, relationships and trust is what got me further, right? And you got to think about that even with writing. So I think it translates exactly to what you are saying, is that the mindset has to be core here in terms
Yeah.
of because you've got to build that trust with your leaders, to your readers, and if they see just a lot of content just being published, I think you lose that, because the readers will see it very clearly. You said you your people are the ones who monetize for Substack. Now, Substack is very hard to monetize. So, in your experience, and I believe you've been on Substack for over a year or much longer.
Not as long as you. I saw you first published in 2020, March 2020, and I'm thinking, what? I didn't even know Substack was around then. I had to do a quick bit of homework in case this came up, and I didn't
Okay.
know that. I did. I didn't know. I didn't know. So even as a guest, you got to do your homework. I didn't know Substack actually started in 2017 from a public point of
It
view.
did, yeah.
And there, your first uh, publication was March 2020, just when the pandemic was starting.
Yeah.
So I started on Substack. I had to check actually because I was guessing, and it turns out it was 2022. So
Mm.
it's just I'm in my third year, I think. I thought it was 4 years, but I was mistaken. Um, why are we onto that? I've forgotten.
Yeah, so I think you're talking about how long you've been there, and then how the paid aspect, right? I mean, you talk about monetizing. It's
Oh,
been hard,
monetizing.
yeah, and like you think those are your people, the people who want to monetize on Substack. You
Yeah,
mentioned that, and I was wondering how your journey has been, because it's very hard to monetize. So I've been there since 2020. I didn't come in for monetizing, but then the monetizing bug hits you very fast, because that's what you see everywhere. Everybody's got the option to pay, to go paid is front and center in a way. There's talk about how Substack will not promote you if you're not paid because they don't care. I've read that. So there's so many theories out there as to why going paid is the right decision. And so I did, but I wasn't here for getting paid because, one, I don't need it because I have another job. So I was really honing my passion and trying to get back to writing. But a lot of people I meet are in the category of wanting to make Substack benefit monetarily. And it's been tough. And those are the folks I talk to, right? Not the ones who have 20,000, 50,000 followers. I can't even get FaceTime with them. but but the but they're not the ones I want to talk to. I want to talk to the people who are struggling, who have the same experiences I've had, who I can relate to. So my people are the people who are wanting to make a difference on Substack with their writing. So when so that's where the thought came from. What was your experience trying to go there? And I know you have had some success just with PDFs and stuff, but I wanted to
yeah.
kind of hear your story about how that came about.
All right. So don't be too surprised when I start with mindset. And I say this with love and kindness. I want to bring up the word that you used twice. Monetizing is hard. The word quote unquote hard.
I did.
So again I quote Seneca.
Mm.
It's all in your head.
Mm.
You have the power to make things seem hard or easy or even amusing. It's
Mm.
your choice. End
Mm.
quote. So, is it hard? It is if you think it's hard.
Mm.
Is it easy? It can be if you
Mm.
think it's easy. Is it amusing? Let's have some fun at this. I had
Sure
a
can
go
be.
and it failed. I've had a go and it didn't work. Where's the amusing angle in that? Where can I have a laugh at that? It's all mindset.
Yeah.
So let's get down to let's stop being philosophical, Michael, because I'm not Seneca and I'm not a Stoic philosopher. I'm Mike Searles. So let's get back to basics. How first of all, Substack is a platform for monetization. It's
Yeah.
turned into a lot more, but it was started that way. So I did say on another interview that I actually had an issue with a writer who was trying to argue with me that Substack is for writers who simply want to publish their writing and it's not for monetization. And I put him in his spot. He needed to be
Mm.
put in his spot because he was outright wrong. I'm not going to be gentle about it and not believe it. He was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. He's wrong,
Substack
because
is the
Substack is for
platform.
monetization. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Substack was founded as a platform for monetizing writing. That's what it's about.
That's a
It's
business model.
become a lot
Yes.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
okay. So we're not committing sins. We don't have to gnash teeth and throw ash over our backs and belt ourselves with glass and make ourselves bleed because we want to make money with our writing. There's no sin, there's no crime there.
Right.
And if you're someone who wants to monetize on Substack, you're my kind of person. If you're not, I'm not for you. And that's fine. Okay, off the soapbox. Is So it took me a long time to open up the paywall.
Mm.
I only opened up. Now I'm not a guru, and I don't have thousands of followers. I only have 7 paid subscribers. I
Mm-hmm.
opened up the paywall, I think 2 months ago, and I have 7 subscribers. But guess what? They're all annuals. They're not monthly. So how did I do that? Well, I thought about it as a strategy. They're
Mm-hmm.
not annuals by accident. They're annuals because that's how I wanted it to work. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, if you're still hesitant about wanting to open up a paywall, because I'll tell you what one of my fears were about opening up putting content behind a paywall on Substack. It was because I felt like I was going to be tied to a commitment I might not be able to honour.
Mm.
What happens if I get sick and somebody's paid me in advance for this content and I'm not able to deliver? I'm going to feel terrible.
Yeah.
That okay, but there's ways around that. But that was something that was in my
Yeah. The
brain.
consistency and trying to keep that cadence to not disappoint your paid subscribers because yeah.
Yeah. So well? Here's the thing I found out: people will subscribe to you and pay for what you've got, not because of your content only, but because of you
Mm.
and your perspective on the topic
Yeah.
or on life in general. That's why I'm moving very towards what I'm calling personality-driven content, not content-driven content, but to
Mm.
put more of you into what you're writing.
Yeah.
And it stems from something I talked about last year, the wisdom economy
Yep.
versus the content economy.
I
Okay,
read it.
so
Yeah.
you did. Thank you.
I did.
So the other thing here is to do what I did. If you're still fearful for whatever reason, if there's blockages and barriers stopping you from opening the paywall on Substack, then create a product that you can publish off platform, like
Mm.
I do on Gumroad, and tell your Substack readers and subscribers that it's there, and invite them to have a look and maybe even buy what you're selling there
Yeah.
on another platform like Gumroad, or there's other PayHip, I think is another one, and other platforms you can. So that's another thing. Does that
Yeah.
answer your question?
Yes. So your story from the beginning was once you figured it out, you went paid, right? So you had no qualms about it. You decided to go paid, but you also created the Gumroad aspect. So now you have 2 channels in which people can subscribe to you or pay for your content, either be a subscriber or you can buy my products, right? So those are the 2. Um, Now, how does one tie to the other? Is your content? Are you trying to market more through your writing, or just building your personality? I think that's the core focus on Substack. Then the the problem solving aspect is the Gumroad, where once I get to know you and get to understand the personality behind Mike, then I want to know more about Mike. I want to get the tools Mike is using. I want to know how to problem solve the same problems that I'm facing that Mike is solved for, and then I go to Gumroad and fix it. Right. So that's kind of the channels I'm guessing.
All right. So where do we start? First thing, I come back to mindset again. If you'll excuse me for coming back to it.
Yeah.
If you're a writer who thinks of yourself as a writer who wants to monetize, you need to change that thinking right from the start. You're not a writer, you're a publisher.
Mm.
If you're a writer who writes and publishes and but doesn't want to make money from it, that's fine. That's your hobby. Okay. If your creative skill at the moment is writing, and you want to get paid, you want people to pay you for your writing, then you need to publish it somewhere. So you're no longer a writer,
Yeah.
you're a publisher. So start thinking of yourself as a publisher. And then as a publisher, I would add, then start thinking of yourself as a promoter. Your job, if you want to put it that way, is to promote your published content. Okay, so that's where. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, it starts within the content itself. You put personality-driven content. You put more of you into your content.
into your
Yeah.
writing. Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking non-fiction here, but I'm not I don't write fiction.
Yeah, that's a
Like
whole different. Different ballgame.
if I was clever enough. So how am I doing it? Well, I started publishing the PDFs on Gumroad July last year.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, I had in years gone by when I was copywriting for clients. I was in partnership with a guy, and together we created content that we sold, and we did very well out of it. But that was back then. Then I retired, and I got bored watching Netflix and drinking too much coffee. So I started writing again on Substack. You know, I'm the typical person who stops and starts and stops and starts. So at the moment, I'm well into the start phase. I'm still on the track race in a long marathon, still running around the track. So I've got 500 something or other subscribers. So that's
Mm-hmm.
everything's relative.
Yeah.
Hey Raj, I saw a great post, and I had to restack it, but I chose to generate a cartoon from it. The essence of it was, I think you might have seen it. I'm sorry I can't remember the publisher's name on Substack, but the essence of it was, if you've got a list of subscribers on Substack of say 50 people,
Yeah. The coffee
and
thing. Yeah.
you saw it,
I
and if you
responded
think
to it.
that's
Yeah.
you did, you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you think if you're kicking yourself thinking I've only got 50 subscribers compared to someone like Mike Searles has got 500, or
Yeah.
Dolly Parton's got squillions.
Squillions. I've not heard that before.
Well,
Bajillions. Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. So
yeah.
50
So
is
if
enough.
you've got
Yeah.
if you reframe that,
Yeah.
if you've got 50 subscribers, if you put 50 people, if you put those 50 people live in a coffee shop, you'll fill a coffee shop. Now imagine they're all looking at you and you're standing with a microphone and you're reading to them your most recent post. Imagine that. That's a big audience.
Yeah. It's a big audience. It's all perspective. It's all
Yeah.
perspective of how you look at it, right?
Now,
Because
the wonderful thing about that, Raj, is out of those 50, you only need one to buy your published PDF
yeah.
to get you on the road to being a paid published writer.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, if whoever's watching or listening live, and we're grateful for those who are with us live,
Yeah.
or watching Raj's video replay, if you're yet to be paid for your writing, but you aspire to be paid, once you get that first dollar in your account, you'll be off and running. Those juices, talk about, what do we call them? Dopamine hits. Now,
Dopamine.
this is
That's
more than,
yeah.
oh boy, that's not a dopamine hit. You'll be swimming
Yeah.
in dopamine.
Yeah. And when that dopamine rush comes down, don't be sad, is what I would say, right? Because you still have that handful of people who are your core people. They came into that room for you, because of you. And so don't chase the dopamine hit. It'll happen organically, is my experience. Because I said earlier, I don't write, or I didn't come to Substack to write. And I wrote that first post in 2020 called The Reset. It was just a reset. Like me, like you, I've shifted platforms, but I came to Substack back then. I wasn't thinking about being paid, but I do have paid subscribers. And that's because they saw something in me. Maybe it was me reaching out to them, helping them out, but something. They became annual subscribers. So I still have them. I wasn't ashamed to or guilty to turn on paid subscriber from the get go. Um, I've always grappled with what I want to give paid and what I want to give free. That's a different debate. But you should do it. It will happen, and you will get that dopamine hit. But don't look at these others who are trying to make money and say you can get so many subscribers, you can make so much money. Don't get distracted by it. Don't fall into that trap. Focus on building your personality so that you'll get the next one when you least expect it. is what I would say.
And I concur. And you know what? So where do they find this personality of yours? They'll find it, first of all, they'll meet you in notes, and they may think, oh, and so they may like it or comment, or they may follow, and then they see more of your notes, and then they may subscribe, which means they're going to get an email from you and your email newsletter. Then they get to know you. First of all, they may like you, but not really know you. Then they get to know you more because of your published content in the email. But then when they really know you, like you, and trust you, is when you start engaging with them in the direct messages, in DMs, the one-on-one DMs. And I bring that up because when I think of my, if you look at your stats and your analytics, so Substack helps us with analytics. They're not really robust as some other programs, but they're still very good considering it's a free program. Substack, I mean. So Substack rates those who open your emails regularly with a 5-star rating. So a smart person, a smart publisher with a marketing mindset would send them content every so often, only them. If you got 100, subscribers and 25 of them are 5 stars, every so often you'd send the 5-star stuff, and you would identify them, egoic labeling. Hey, you're getting this because you're one of my most popular, most common
active.
Thank you. You should have been a copywriter. That's the right word. most active subscriber. But coming back to that question, if I may, about monetization and how I went about it. So I started publishing the PDFs. I didn't have the paywall open on Substack, and so I've got a captive audience. So I'm their static, and I'm the passing parade. So they're in my email. They're on their email inbox is the static part of it, and I'm gonna walk past with a sign in their email inbox. And hang on, oh, Mike Searles, yeah, I'll open that. And then within it, I made a pitch. I said, hey, I've published a PDF. You want to have a look at it? It's right here, and I included the link. And that very first PDF I published in July, the Overlooked Puddles one that you mentioned, had a sale in the very first hour of being published. But do you know the most important thing? I created that first PDF in one day. It was one of my morning moments when I woke up, Raj. I grabbed the phone and I had an idea. I said to ChatGPT, I said, mate, because that's what I call him sometimes. I said, mate, we've got a bit of a problem here. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I need some help with some ideas. What can I do? And it spat out some options, as it does. Oh, I like that idea. What could we call that? And I had Overlooked Puddles written and published as a PDF before I had dinner. And an hour later, I sent the email off to the list, and someone bought it. It turns out to be the first PDF I published is my best, as far as best being my flagship product by virtue of the number of sales and the dollars it's made me since then.
And that is the overlooking the puddles, right? That is the puddles. The puddles one is the most. The puddles one is the most bought and most popular of all the paid ones.
Of the products with the price tag on them, the most downloaded is the free one, and I'm not surprised. It's the light version of Overlooked Puddles. But guess what? Being a sneaky marketer, in the light version is a link to the $27 Overlooked Puddles one, the full version, and I even include as a bonus the full transcript from start to finish.
ChatGPT script, yeah,
the full script.
Yeah, I saw that on the cover. So, one thing I'm amazed by is a lot of people are very reluctant these days to say, I use AI to do whatever, right? And I like the fact that you own it, because it is not about, again, you talked about it earlier, it's not about what you use. It is about how to get there and how to give good content that'll help. I think the method is, in a way, is not the means. It's not the means, but it's where you get to, like, what's the end outcome that matters the most. So I'm really happy you own it. Own the fact that you use ChatGPT to generate ideas, and then you write compelling content. So that's good. A lot of people are not comfortable saying that
I,
even.
I think. Thank you. I'm glad that that's recognised, but I've got to be more humble about this, because I think it comes from. Okay, so declaring that I'm using AI to the extent that I am. So what are we? Are we saying that some people are reluctant to do that because they don't want to be they don't want to be criticised or judged for it? You know,
Yeah.
there's two things. I just don't care what people think about me, and I don't want that to be sounding arrogant. I wish I had better words to express it, but I really don't. What I mean by that is, if you've had life experiences like I've had, Raj, where addiction nearly killed you, a heart attack nearly
Wow.
killed you, when you've had these life experiences in psychiatric hospitals and rehabs, and when you weigh it all up, what somebody thinks about me and my writing, and whether I'm using AI, or because I declare I'm using AI, they don't want to follow me anymore or read I couldn't care. And I
Yeah.
don't mean that, just hearing
Yeah.
myself say
No,
that sounds so arrogant. I don't mean it to be like that.
yeah. I mean, I understand, because it in the large scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, that's not what matters, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen it, you've come through all these things, so I completely get it. I mean, a lot of us don't have that kind of real life experiences that will ground us in the fact that that's not what's important. That's not where you should put your mindset to. And so it comes through to me, at least, and I'm sure for our viewers, it's coming through. You do not sound arrogant at all. But thank you for being real. And my point was, you're real, and that is what I was trying to say. Real,
Well,
your candor and your realism is good.
Well, let's just touch on that. Thank you, Raj. I appreciate those comments. Now, being real and being authentic, you can cross a line, and I did recently. Now, I um I read a post. Somebody who we've been mutual followers, subscribers on Substack, and this person is going through a really challenging time in their life, and they were openly describing what was going on, and if you had to describe it, is it more positive or more negative? You'd have to say they're stuck in a negative mindset. And I, through authentic and
Yeah.
good intent, I did not want to hurt this person, but I certainly went about it the wrong way. I said in a comment, and I'm going to quote myself. I said the first three words of my comment was, "Your attitude stinks." Now, that now I'm not justifying it. It was not the right terminology to use in hindsight, and I got chewed out big time because of it. And I won't be using that. But where did that come from? I do want to. If I had to, I thought to myself, if only I had the chance to explain where that thinking comes from, maybe it would be seen in a slightly different light. But then I thought, no, because that's going to be, you try to explain yourself, justify yourself, and make yourself not look so guilty. I was guilty, but I'm just going to phrase something. In the 12-step program, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, we members have certain sayings we use as mantras, and one of them is, "What's your stinking thinking?" Uh, because stinking thinking, negative thinking, can be one of the reasons why somebody who is sober can pick up a drink and
Yeah.
lose their sobriety.
Yeah.
That's where it came from. I thought, oh, stinking thinking, that's negative. You can do better. Be careful of that. But but
But it came out
but
wrong. It came out wrong. It
it came out wrong. I shouldn't have done it. They're not a member of AA. They've probably never heard of it. It was an attack on identity, whereas I was referring to the behaviour. Now, that's where you've got to be careful with being
Yeah.
authentic, Raj.
Realistic. Yeah. 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 I have. got into situations similar where I've been told, you know, my thinking is wrong. And sometimes when you're passionate about something and you want to help, is what I've realized is, and you end up going a little too far to
Yeah,
help, and you don't realize how that is perceived on the other end, because you are not going through what they're going through. You are trying to help, but you are not
correct.
in that moment with them, and that's where it goes wrong. And I've learned that the hard way in real life, not on Substack.
Yeah,
So
so true. So where is the place for authenticity, and uh, as it relates to uh, publishing your writing on Substack, since we're on Substack and that's
yep,
predominantly what we're talking about. I mean, creators can be artists or whatever, but we're talking about writers predominantly here. Uh, Personality. Don't, that's why I'm not afraid to express my points of view and perspective and experiences through my writing and let that, because that nobody else can be Mike Searles. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. So when that nobody else can be Raj with your experiences in life.
yeah,
They may you and millions of others may have gone and watched a soccer match, which means you're all spectators of soccer, but only Raj can put into words his experience of.
yeah. My experience, my point of view will be different. Yeah,
Absolutely. That's what's missing in slop.
mm.
And that's even what's missing in potentially better writers who want to be better,
Yep,
but are struggling to find out how to make their content not look like content, but make it look like something that fits more into the wisdom economy rather than the slop generated content economy.
yeah. Well said. There's so much to learn from you. So I know you said nobody wants to be Mike, but I think yours is, and I've said this, like your Substack in 2026, and I've only known you for 2 weeks now. I think, right, only 2 weeks. A random connection, but yours is the one that I've been most gravitating towards in terms of reading every single article, because I find that wisdom coming through. So I think more people should be like you, even though you said you not wish that on anybody. But from a Substack point of view, I think you've got exactly the mindset that I have not seen with anybody else. Everybody's in their different bucket, including me. But when I look at you and what you put out there, the flavors I talked about from the beginning, it shines through because everybody's got multiple flavors in there. I intentionally named my first Substack the marinade because, like cake, a lot of the ingredients go into it, and it was about
Oh,
the fact, yeah. So it was about the fact that I want to write about a lot of things. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself into something because I'm so curious about people and stories and storytelling and um, listening and writing about stuff that I have not experienced through people that I meet and the stories that I hear. That is what makes what I do fun in a way, fun or interesting or keeps me motivated. So I just want to say, I think people should be like you. Um, we've been on for more than an hour now, and I appreciate you giving me all this time. I want to, as we wrap this up, I wanted to ask you, and I'm glad that you have gone through my Substack, um, gone through all the way till 2020. I know you haven't read all of it, but what is the impression you get of me? Because I want your take on it, because you are the marketer, the multifaceted. I want your cake point of view to tell me what do you see when you see the marinade or Raj as a persona, and you can be candid and honest, because this is feedback I'd really like to get.
wow. I'd like to read more to get a real good feel for what's behind what you're generating.
Hmm.
the first impression is the visual impression, and I think that's a start. And so you've got a unique, I notice you're wearing a cap, as do I, and you do have a hat or a cap on most of your videos. So
Yep.
this is becoming a signature representation of who Raj is, and how Raj presents. And
Yep.
we would encourage our viewers and listeners to do the same, to have something that identifies them physically
Mm.
to their readers, because we do look at profiles before we subscribe, don't we? We look at images, we look at the profile image. I do. I'm sure I'm not on my own. And we read the profile description, the one that you said you've edited recently.
Mhm.
It would just so happen that I've got the marinade mixer, because you never know. The old Boy Scouts said, always be prepared,
Yep.
and you just never know when you're going to be asked to. So
Yeah.
uh, you've got to. Pardon me for commenting on the visual impressions first.
No, please
So
do.
you've got a professional looking banner, the marinade mixer, the colours. So you haven't just slapped that together. You've put some time and effort into that. So that means, to me, first impressions, you've got some care and intent about what your Substack is about. So that in itself wants to draw me in.
Good.
Uh,
Okay. I'm
the,
glad to hear
the
that.
profile, the profile image, I'd give you 10.5 out of 10, because uh, you've got the hat on. Looks like an African safari hat, is it?
No, that is coffee and coconut. It's a coffee shop. You and I love coffee. I think we didn't even
Yeah,
talk
we
about it,
do.
but that is a coffee shop that has gone out of business, and I'm promoting them even though they don't know about it.
Okay. Uh, the piercing eyes, I don't know whether that's been AI enhanced. Are they your own eyes looking at me?
They are my own eyes. I know.
Oh my good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now obviously, so what I'm getting at here is there is a unique look here: the beard, the eyes, the profile image. So banner, profile image, both excellent. Draw me in,
Okay.
and then your short 1 sentence bio description. This is your account description, or is this your?
It's my
Yeah, this is
profile
your
description.
account.
Yeah, profile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
profile.
exactly. And I changed this after reading one of your notes about Claudia, I think, and how you were
Yeah.
impressed by it. I saw that and I said, okay, I'm going to change mine. This was 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh,
So you have a hand in
this is
this, my friend.
Oh, wow. I tell you what, thank you. By
It
the
might
way,
not be
I
good,
used to
but
find
yeah,
I used to find it difficult to accept compliments, and you've been very lavish in your praise.
I have the same issue. I don't know how to react when somebody compliments me or asks me, like, hey, yeah.
Well, there's only one way, and I'm going to do it. N- There's only one way. It's to say thank you and shut up.
Mm,
That's it. It took me a long. I mean, I really had to work at it. I didn't find compliments easy to accept. I would always, and do you know
yep.
what? When you get a compliment and you go whatever, like, oh, it was nothing, or really, or this old thing, or what you're doing is you're downgrading the intent of the person who gives you the compliment. That's not very good manners.
Mm,
The only way to reply to a compliment is thank you
thank you.
and
And then
shut up.
shut up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
On shutting up, all these lives that I've been doing since December, which is a new thing I'm doing, and my most focus is the videos and meeting people. It Every single live is a way for me to train myself to learn how to be quiet and listen to the guest. That has been an intentional skill that I've been trying to hone. So just the act of shutting up was hard for me. Even saying I keep saying that is disruptive. So I'm trying a lot to learn through these videos.
Well, I'm sensitive to that kind of stuff because I've had to work on that too. And I'm still not perfect, but perfection is not the game. Uh, Being better today than I was yesterday. So I've had to work at that too, especially when I was a salesperson. you had to listen more than you spoke. But you've got so much to talk about as a salesperson. You've been trained to the hilt by the company you're working for on products and features. You've got so much information to share, and you want to get to the point where they say, yes, I'll buy your product or I'll prescribe your drug or whatever. You can't help yourself. But you've done well, if I can give you feedback. I've noticed that you're a good listener as a host and interviewer. So you're winning there.
Thank you.
Back to your.
Yes.
There you go. Well done. So the profile, the description. I talk to writers about the craft and why any of it matters. That's good. I would have one benefit statement in there. You've got room because that's a very short sentence. Something like I talk to writers about the craft and why any of it matters, so that, and then a benefit. Yeah, your wife as a copywriter would come up with that. It's always good if you can add. I hope I've got a benefit statement in mind. Having said that, I don't even know.
My wife
and as far as
go to ChatGPT.
Yeah. And as far as your content, well, I just haven't read as much as what I would need to really give you valuable feedback. But what I do see, which is positive, is that you are consistent on the platform at the moment, which again draws me into want to spend time on your. I hope I've subscribed to you, Raj.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. You have.
Yeah,
You have.
yeah.
Thank you.
So that's the sort of thing that would prompt somebody to want to subscribe rather than just follow. I want this person's content in my email inbox because I can see they're serious and professional by their banner. They've spent time putting together a profile image that looks good. It's got a marketing angle to it. They've got a short statement that isn't all overly stated. It's understatement. Understated is better than overstated.
Mm-hmm.
And you're consistent on the platform from what I can see. That's all in your favour from what I see, Raj.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. So it's feedback. I've never asked anybody this, so you're the first one I'm asking.
Oh, good. Well, from what I can see and from what it's worth coming from me, you're hitting all the right notes here, Raj. Well done.
Thank you. And that's kind of everything. I know there's so much we can talk about. I do want to talk about coffee. Whenever I visit Melbourne, I visit a lot of coffee shops. I go to all these little coffee shops and I find them. And in my post, I think I mentioned a lot of them. But my favorite coffee is the cortado. That is, I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a Spanish drink. It's equal parts milk and equal parts espresso, and it's very well balanced. And I review coffee shops based on how good they make a cortado, because you need the balance right. You need you need good beans, and you need a good barista. When I went to Australia, I asked for a cortado. They didn't know what that meant. This was the first time, 2017, I believe. I was staying in Tarneet, where my brother has a house.
Oh, I know Tarneet. Yes.
Yeah, it was a growing community. And then now it's changed, and when we went to 2022, it's completely different. But Dagani Coffee is the one I went to.
Yes.
And he was an Indian guy who's born and brought up in Australia. So I asked him, hey, this is what I'm trying to get, and I don't know what to order. He said, oh, mate, that's magic.
Yes.
So that's the magic. So it's called Magic Coffee in Australia. So you go to a Australian coffee shop and ask for Magic, and they will make you the cortado.
Oh, mate, I'm going to try and get a freebie out of this. Mate, I'll make notes on that. And look, yes, so Melbourne is considered the coffee capital of Australia.
Yeah.
We've got a very strong coffee culture. I mean, most office workers will start. When I say most, that's a very generalisation, but most office workers in the city will start their day by getting off the train, and between going to their office, stopping at a coffee cafe and buying a takeaway.
Absolutely.
And the most common coffee bought here, takeaway, would be cappuccino. Yeah. Your Magic half sounds a little bit similar to what we call here a flat white, which is 1/3 coffee espresso and 2/3 milk with no frothy head on top.
Yeah.
That's what
it's
I
slightly
normally
different.
order.
Yeah. It's a shorter
I normally
drink.
order a flat white.
Yeah. The
What's that?
magic is a much smaller drink, so it won't be like a flat white. Flat
Oh,
white is the content of there's more milk in a flat white, um,
yeah.
and this one is almost a perfect balance. So if you have a Brazilian or beans which has chocolate notes in it, it'll definitely bring that flavor out along with the milk because the coffee mixes with the milk and the chocolate mixes with the milk, so you get a lot of different flavors. So it's yeah,
Oh, mate,
so
I'm
it's
out of
like
my league. I'm a fraud in your company. I am a fraud. I'm out of my. No. Now, Raj, I'm out of my league because at home here we drink Makona instant coffee. Now you'd think
oh
me being a coffee. Oh, look, I love it. We've had all the coffee machines and first of all the messing around with this and that and all the. I don't want to have a barista machine sitting on my kitchen bed. I want to go to the cupboard. I want to boil the kettle, take
yeah,
the coffee ground out,
sachet,
slap it.
put it in.
I want to be
Shut it up.
drinking my coffee within a minute. So, but
Yeah.
uh, uh, did you say you write about coffee?
No, I have a Instagram page where I was during the pandemic. I had a coffee subscription business, which was just to ship coffee beans from local roasters to people who couldn't get out and go to a coffee shop. So I did that as a hobby, and I grew my Instagram following. And I used to review coffee shops, and so that is my Instagram platform, separate from what I do on writing. But my first Substack was about coffee before I started the marinade. And then I don't do anything on that Substack, but it was about coffee first.
I've got a final suggestion before we go.
Yes.
Talking about coffee has reminded me of something, and this could be the first thing that a publisher on Substack does to monetize their work before they open the paywall or even create a PDF to sell on another platform.
Mm.
It's been around for years, but I've been reintroduced to it and I've just started doing it too. And it's Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah, I've
So
seen that. I've done
you,
that too. Yeah.
you you've done it. I tried it and it didn't work years ago, probably because I wasn't doing it properly. Uh, I've just started doing it. The person who mentioned it to me he's got over 10,000 subscribers and very active on Substack. And he mentioned it to me, and he generates a good amount of money regularly from Buy Me a Coffee. Now,
Hmm.
the secret is not. So you just Google Buy Me a Coffee and you'll find the platform. Right,
Yeah.
sign up for an account. It's free.
Yeah.
You'll pay a commission on the money that you get, but you
Yeah.
put it's not the link that will generate the tip. Let's call it a tip. You could end your posts, the newsletter. I wouldn't put Buy Me a Coffee in notes but in your
In the
newsletter,
newsletter.
email
Yeah.
newsletters, it's not the link that's going to get people to click. It's how you phrase it, how you invite people to. It's how you word it. Maybe we could talk about that another time. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Buy Me a Coffee.
Yeah.
That's one way to monetize your work straight away, very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've seen a lot of people do that, have success. I tried it for a little while. It didn't really work for me. I did try different ways of saying it. I said, "Hey, buy me a cortado," and here's what the cortado is. And I would say it's part. The same thing I told you in a few words. I put it out there, but somehow it didn't work. Um, Maybe it's just my audience, right? Because I think if you have an engaged email subscription list. If you have a subscription list where you mentioned earlier, they are more active reading your articles and you consistently post them. I wasn't doing that consistently. So maybe that's why it didn't work for me. But it's definitely a strategy that works, and I'm glad you're
Yeah,
trying it. And I look forward to
yeah,
seeing how it works for you.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
but there's so many different strategies. Some people get it through pledges, some people get it through different ways. And
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, I think I want to bring it back to the fact that you have to build your personality, and that is what you do well, and that is what I'm trying to do. And I'm glad I got to meet you and talk to you. I know we'll continue to be chatting on Substack, and looking forward to the next time we get them face to face.
good, Raj. Thank you very much. Can I say, first of all, thanks to the viewers who have stayed with us live. We appreciate that. And even though this is your show, Raj, but I, as a guest, I appreciate it too. And for those watching you on the replay, and thank you, Raj, for inviting me as a guest on your show. I've had a blast, and I've enjoyed it. And for the compliments that you've been very lavish with. Thank you.
Yes, and one thing I wanted to say last is I usually post all this to YouTube, and Substack Live goes automatically to YouTube. I don't publish it immediately because I'm always skeptical about how I said things and how I want to edit things out. This one, I don't want to edit anything out. I just want to put it out there because I think this is the most fun I've had on a live. So I'm really grateful again.
That's
Um, we'll meet again. Have a wonderful day. I know it's sunny out. It's dark out here, but
yeah.
please go have a magic on me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to find a cafe that serves it, and I'm going to mention your name, and I'm going to get a freebie. Don't you worry, I'll get one.
All right, and you need to post that picture, please,
Yeah, all right, I'll take the
and
snap.
tag
Yeah,
me. Yeah, and tag me.
yeah, will do. Oh, it's a promise.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you, Mike. Cheers.